real policy. A government to the joke, a government to the fight me down, a government to the smoke, a government with integrity. Now look how they understand. A government in sweetie and tea. Now without the bullet man, everybody. Rowdy at a go, rowdy at a go, rowdy at a go, rowdy at a go, rowdy at a go. Tell them go, rowdy at a go, rowdy at a go, rowdy at a go, rowdy at a go. Now everybody let's vote, put them out, vote, put them out, vote, put them out. They're only time to resign. Vote, put them out, vote, put them out, vote, put them out. When you see him waving bye bye.
Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote Lennox. Lennox, good night. If you're hearing me, nobody not hearing any like the music we have in the background, they're playing extremely loud. So you need to check it out.
Show them no mercy. Put them out with total scorn and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out of power, dominate their reign. Let's put our country together again. If for 30 years you voting them in, and it's only just as soon as they win, they give you big words.
Yes, indeed, of course. Once again, because of the monitoring mechanism that we have put in place, because this is a truly interactive program. So as soon as there's a problem with the audio, video, or any other aspect of the delivery, then of course people call in one time to effect correction. I trust that that has been corrected. In studio, of course, I have a monitoring problem because the other monitor is not, of course, working, so I am unable to of course, monitor from within. So I thank you very much for that intervention, the caller that took the time, the effort, and the cost of course, informing me that, of course, the audio might have been a problem. So let me start all over by saying, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, in Trinidad, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. This is, yes, the Corridor Transformation. Your host, Lennox Smith, of course, on this Wednesday night. Let me say, of course, we will continue, of course, with the series of Laventil, East Port of Spain, Beetham, Silats, Chumakak, Movan, and up the corridor, the east of these geographic spaces, and those west of these geographic places are talking about Port of Spain, are talking about the Diego Martins. Yes, indeed, in terms of constituencies. And we need to understand that there is a critical and crucial issue, almost the elephant in the atmosphere, that it is on us, the salvation and the development, not just of the country, but of ourselves, our families, our neighborhood, our community, our villages, and therefore the regional corporations and or city corporations or borough corporations, whichever terminology you wish to use, because a human being must live somewhere on the earth. And so, in the context of Trinidad and Tobago, we are saying along the East-West corridor, we have been abused for too long by a party that singularly dominated, of course, politics and power in this country. And what we are seeing, of course, particularly over the last 10 years, is a Rowley administration that clearly is a criminal enterprise of a mafia nature, and will, of course, because they believe that somehow somebody bequeathed Trinidad and Tobago to them, meaning that they will it to them, that they believe that they can do what the hell they want, breach the rule of law, disrespect the separation of powers. And let me just define those just in case. The rule of law means that the law is for everyone. of course, with certain exceptions, and the exception here I can think of course, is the president. Whilst the president is in office, they are immune from any legal action. But everybody else, including the prime minister, the separation of powers, of course, relate to the three arms in particular, but there's a fourth arm of government. We're talking about the executive, which of course is the government run at this time inadequately, disastrously, macabrely, destructively by Rowley and of course the PNM as the party. Whether it be Rowley or whether it be Stuart Young, you can say that it's half a dozen of one and six of the other. You can of course say that it is vicarious when of course Stuart Young takes over the reign, whenever that is. But the fact of the matter is that that is the executive in the constitutional arrangement that we have for the management of the society. That is what a constitution is all about. It dictates and defines the relationship one to another in a particular society as to what can be done and what ought not to be done and what is expected to be done and of course delivered. That is what a constitution is all about. And inside of that, of course, you have sub-laws that will regulate, of course, for the times that we are in, or the society has found itself to adjust and adapt, given, of course, the circumstances of the generation or generations. So we have the executive, and we have, of course, in terms of the separation of powers, the other arm is the legislature or the parliament. The highest court in the land, they say. But the fact of the matter is that it is the legislature that makes laws depending on what the requirements are, so that we continue, of course, to work in harmony with each other, and fundamental rules must be observed, including, of course, our right under the Constitution not to be deprived of property, have access as everybody else to the courts, not to be discriminated against, and have a relationship that respects each other's property, person, and in terms of commerce and business, a relationship that, of course, is guided under or within the context of civility. You don't fight. You don't pull guns. You don't bow and arrows and all of that in different, of course, era of human development. We have had all of those as weapons of force for one group to impose on another or deprive another group of their belongings because one group may not be as advanced. And of course, we all know about the Caribbean Arawaks in the case of our West Indian history. And by the time Christopher Columbus had reached the New World, so to speak, it was always there. But of course, for human understanding, we call it the New World, which of course is the Western Hemisphere, the Americas, of course, and the Caribbean, etc. By the time Christopher Columbus reached in 1492, in his first voyage, there was the discovery that the Arawaks were living in the larger islands, Jamaica, Cuba, Puerto Rico, etc. Hispaniola, now of course is divided into the Dominican Republic on the west, and of course the Haiti on the eastern side. But the fact of the matter is that by the time Columbus reached here in his first voyage, 1492, and of course I'm being as elaborate as possible because I want the C students, and they in particular, of course, to grapple with some of these, should I say, state and or era in our historical evolution as a country, as a state, as Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, when he came here, he met, of course, as I said, the Arawaks, of course, in the northern part of the Caribbean, and of course the Caribs in the southern part. That included, of course, the Trinidad and Tobago and all of the smaller islands, Grenada, St. Vincent, etc., St. Lucia, going up the road. And of course, there was a reason for that. The Caribs were considered to be cannibals, and the Arawak were more or less a peaceful tribe, and they were escaping from the Caribs who hunted them as well for food, for meat. And they had to be escaping or traveling further and further north, coming out of ostensibly the South American mainland. That's enough of history, of course, but I thought it was important. That's the early history of Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, we know when Columbus discovered Trinidad and Tobago and called it, of course, La Trinity, and that is how we got the name Trinidad and Trinidad. And of course, the Tobago was separate and apart and was, of course, incorporated into Trinidad and Tobago as one unitary state. One unitary state as history, of course, unfolded under the colonial rules, of course. British in particular in our case. But of course, some would have had the French experience, others the Dutch experience, and others, of course, the Spanish experience. So I thought it was important, of course, and the Portuguese experience as well, because, of course, Brazil is a product of the Portuguese experience and clearly its colonial past, and therefore part of that country's history. And of course, it's the only, of course, country in South America that, of course, Spanish is not their first language. Spanish, of course, and we have Guyana as well, but basically most of those countries would have been Spanish because the Spanish would have been given via the Treaty of Tordesillas, when a pope divided the world into two and gave, of course, the Portuguese the eastern side, which, of course, Brazil fell into, and anything on the the western side, and on the eastern side, anything east of that line would have been, of course, belonged to the Spanish. Those were the first powers of Europe that dominated, of course, the historical colonial past of this part of the world, the Western Hemisphere. I trust that that has brought back some memories for some, and of course we could we can have a program, and I'm contemplating maybe a program maybe around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, or 4 o'clock in the day, when of course people would have now either leaving work or are relaxing at home, and we have something of a more educational development aspect in terms of not politics, but to assist the people with the curriculum and with their work. We have not yet, of course, finalized how the curriculum will work, and we will have to look at several syllabi in order, of course, to assist, because the objective here is to assist, of course, whether it be 1 or 2 subjects as far as CXC is concerned, and of course all of the subjects that would prepare our students for the C exam, the secondary assessment examination. So that being as it may, I thought it was important, of course, but let's get back, of course, to the whole question of what places like Laventille has done, and why it is that it is crucial for places like Laventille to understand that they have a duty and responsibility. I want to tell you this up front, that there are those, as I said last night, within these communities who are doing yeoman service. And over the years, because of their independence and their dedication, of course, to the development of their own capacity building of their community, and because the PNM over the years has seen these people as threats. So for example, myself, so I'm talking from personal experience, there can be no better educational, should I say, mechanism or tool than experience. And I know because I've seen it. Because when we developed, of course, the Mobile Lavantil Trade School in around 1984, and by the time the PNM came back into government after getting a heavy licking, brutally beaten by the NAR in 1986 to the Tree, the programs that I had initiated and prevented a lot of young people of the type that we are concerned with today out of school, not monitored. They are helter-skelter, higgledy-piggledy, all over the place, without, of course, any direction and concept of what they would like to be. And I want to tell you, that is what drove those were the elements, those were the different components that created the MLIO Trade School, the Mobile Lavantil Improvement Organization Trade School. Over 6,000 young people of the type that we are concerned with today, holding guns and, of course, creating havoc in the country, whether it is in these parts of the country, along the East-West corridor, or in Central or in South. It has proliferated like a wildfire. It could be easily considered to be a conflagration, where, of course, massive, fiery, and, of course, evil expressions, disrespecting life, limb, and property. That is what has happened over the years. And no matter how you analyze it, no matter how you assess it, one organization that had control of Trinidad and Tobago for over 40 years is only from 1956 to 1986. That is when, of course, they were out of office. And under, of course, the founding father of the PNM called Eric Williams. And today, what we have is a shambolic, chaotic, dysfunctional society that is in dire need of repair. Dire need of repair. And you see, of course, having been given the opportunity once again after, of course, Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC's intervention between 2010 and 2015, and that of Basio Pandey between 1995 and around 2000, we have a situation where no one is appreciative of the place that Trinidad and Tobago has been. And let me tell you this, and while we have been boasting that, of course, we are particularly selected and protected by the Almighty as far as hurricanes, etc. are concerned, He also provided, of course, the oil and gas in the ground. And over the years, because of the misuse and abuse of the benefits and the largesse that came, whether it be as a consequence of the 1970s oil embargo that created, of course, an oil boom, and the several other oil boom, including that, of course, when Manning was around, we have been so profligate, we have been so abusive, And I say we in the context that I am part of Trinidad and Tobago, but when we look inside of Trinidad and Tobago, there is one group of persons that had managed the affairs of the country, and some say that by now, with of course the monies that would have passed through Trinidad and Tobago, like a dose of salt, some say, we should have been of course the Dubai of the West or the Singapore of the West. And while, of course, comparatively speaking, we are relatively rich compared to other islands, the fact of the matter is that no one can use the excuse that, look, this happening in that country and that happening in the other country, and therefore we must be satisfied for mediocrity and for the decadence and the drudgery and the mismanagement of the resources of the country. We must put blame where blame is due. It cannot be that Rowley went to, of course, Ghana and said that he's bringing back, of course, Dashin and, of course, yam and other, what I consider to be ground provision agricultural produce, and then tell us that of course they have a nascent of course oil and gas industry, and Trinidad and Tobago should of course hitch their wagon there. And then we learned that of course that country cannot be the example that we want simply because it was in the drawers of our IMF program, and that simply means that they would have been subjected to certain restrictions, but as a consequence of the mismanagement, corruption, nepotism, and cronyism in that country, that is why they had to find themselves in that situation, having regard, of course, to the multiple and, of course, the varied amount of resources that that country would have, of course, been blessed with. Why am I saying all of that? I'm saying that to say that when, of course, a country is so blessed like Trinidad and Tobago, and the curse of mismanagement, the curse of corruption, the curse of nepotism, the curse of a profligacy, waste. There comes a time when there must be, of course, introspection because of the lack of opportunities and the reduction drastically of our fortunes, and that is where Trinidad and Tobago is. And therefore Rowley cannot tell us now that he wants to resign. And I want to let you know this, that these people have the uncanny propensity to take a serious matter and turn it into a joke. Imagine Rowley is saying when Kamala Prasad Bisasa said, well, listen, you have mismanaged, and now you want to leave and go. And he takes that to mean that people want him. You know what I say? I say he take that to mean that people want him. It's a statement made nestled in fact that you have mismanaged, you have damaged, you have of course destroyed, and now you want to go. Nobody tell you to stay. That doesn't mean to stay. It means happy riddance. But you must pay at minimum for your iniquities. That is what that means, Rowley, just in case you don't know. It's not that people want you and miss you. And when you amorphously, without any specificity, tell us that you are appreciative that so many people wrote you, etc., etc. Give us one or two examples. Give us one or two examples. You see, it is important that we make those comparatives in order, of course, to justify and to sanitize and to, of course, make certain that somehow, or put another way, that we can convince ourselves that we are on the right course and that our analysis is correct. So take, for instance, Stuart Young was anointed. We know, of course, it had to be because of Rowley's intervention, even though, of course, he said that superficially, that he stayed out of the exercise to, of course, select someone to continue as Prime Minister whenever time it is, because he has not given us any specific time, as Trudeau did. We mentioned that yesterday. As far as the Canadian Prime Minister is concerned, he has decided to resign as well, but of course he has given a specific timeline that people could work with in order, of course, to get themselves ready, and therefore the nation for a new Prime Minister, as the case may be, and within the party itself. But Rowley has not done that. Up to now, we don't know exactly when Stuart Young will take over. And then, of course, not until September is the party to decide on a leader. So he will be the leader of the party, whilst, of course, Stuart Young is the Prime Minister. Nothing different to what is happening now, because the fact of the matter is that when he's out of the country, and Stuart Young, of course, he would leave Stuart Young as Prime Minister. So let us not be concerned overly of this superficial, superfluous gesture. But what is important, however, is that we understand where we are and what he has contributed to the development of Trinidad and Tobago, if at all, having regard, of course, to our experiences over the last 10 years. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hey, Lennox, a pleasant good night again to you and everybody on the live near and far.
Yes, man. Thank you for that intervention earlier.
Yeah, no problem. But watching earlier on the news, I heard, in other words, they say when the dark does come out in the night. Yes. I heard earlier on in the news that them ministers and them was forced to vote for Stuart Young to be the next sitting Prime Minister.
Yeah, no doubt. Rowley's conniving and chicanery nature, a typical criminal, would suggest that to anybody who has been observing the conduct of Rowley. He always wants things his way, and of course orchestrates it and exploits the situation in order to get the outcome that he wants. So it is no surprise, and I think I just alluded to it. But go ahead, my friend.
Right, and two, you see that constitution what we have right now, Lennox?
Yeah.
That thing needs to be thrown in a lake of fire somewhere in hell. Because I hear today, but Stuart Young there, all the provision Rowley put for himself in terms of pay increase and $100 million back pay, Stuart Young entitled to that too. If he only make, like, let me say he work for one day, he entitled to all of that what Rowley getting, you know.
Yeah. Yes. To the extent that, yes. The new salary would apply to him, yes. So $87,000 a month, yes.
Yeah. So the UNC, if anybody who are affiliated to the UNC and Kamala, they need to redo that constitution. They need to redo it. It is not benefiting the people at Trinidad and Tobago in no way, no how. Right? And I still telling people this thing what's going on right now with the PNM supporters, especially black people, these people and them have been underneath a curse for the longest while, because I can't say now these people them are shit. This thing is beyond that, because it's still are people justifying why it is a supporting the PNM because the grandmother and the grandfather supporting the PNM. They can't give a logical explanation why it is they're supporting the PNM and what good that the PNM did in terms of this Rowley government for the past 9 years that benefit the people at Trinidad and Tobago. They can't come up with one good idea to convince me and anybody else why I should vote for the PNM. But despite the saying that Penny was the best pick, according to what guy said, that Penny ain't what I said. Because all of them sit down quietly, suffering quietly, while Rowley run havoc on this country. So we are to get excavator and bulldozer and dig out these people and then from the face of Trinidad and Tobago and put them in the bottom of some cemetery somewhere. Somewhere they need to go, but we need to get them out. Right, Lennox? So lock on and listen.
Thank you very much, of course, and well said, my friend, because I wanted to make a point surrounding the appointment and, of course, Penny and other factors that may either justify or deny any kind of support for that kind of clearly shenanigan that Rowley perpetrated on the party and on the people of Trinidad and Tobago, as if it's them alone that is affecting. That is a matter for them and not to the population, as if we are innocent, gullible for and as lamb to the slaughter for these people. No, we are not. This is a democracy, but we will look at that a little later. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Lennox. And to you, wishing you a blessed and prosperous new year, to all your callers, to everybody.
Thank you. I reciprocate for you and your family.
We have to expose them, and yellow is the code.
That's right. Yes, man.
Listen to you. You know, KCR say you want a last fling for Carnival, boy? You remember that young lady, what they call she, boy? Ravina?
At state expense. That is the problem. These fellas are so full of themselves. You want to know, well, what kind of beasts in human form they are.
Right, but listen to this one. I'm going to quite to the UK Parliament. Right now, we have real fire in the UK Parliament. And you know what everybody wants? An investigation for gang raping and pedophile behavior that they say the current Prime Minister avoided investigation and prosecution. We have two reports. SABGA 1997 reports, Judah June report, and we are going no way fast with them.
Yes, and Akil as well. Yes,
most of those witnesses are still alive. They could still basically give evidence if we have the testicular fortitude to go forward with it. You understand? Because if you watch the coroner inquest, some of them, and I believe one of the lawyers said, the witnesses were not forthcoming, a cover-up, and that leads to the ineffectiveness of the police service. But more importantly, we had to expose that fella they call Small Pin, and I'm going back in history, right?
Yes.
2016, they had a big raid down in Westmoreland in an apartment, and a young lady with 3 other people was arrested, put on bail, dies what? 2016, 8 years, we hear nothing about that case. I hope Limo will lose the file, you know. Or I hope the DPP and them will lose the file, you know.
Don't be surprised. But don't be surprised if it is misplaced and evaporates. Yes.
Right. No. Who was in charge of that investigation? Who was the man in leading that? Wasn't that fellow by the name of Gigi Boy? That's where they must be followed for? No. If you go back to the Guardian report on that, one of the suspect was fleeing in a black BMW. All you remember that?
Yes.
I wonder who is that boy, because remember with the Monas Island, the judge really jammed the TTPS officers and say they wasn't professional, they botched the investigation. It might have been a cover-up. I wonder if Gigi could tell us who was that suspect in a BMW. You know, I can't afford a BMW.
Of course, and I don't know, and neither the ordinary man in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, it had to be an old or a young person.
Getting illegal and or non-meritorious financial reward. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing we have to expose them for, you understand?
Yes.
No, the other thing is that KCR...
caller, just hold on a bit of another caller on the line. Go ahead, Mr. Digmartin.
Right. The thing is, that fella who get a pig gun, I have to call it a pig gun with the 9mm.
Yes.
The thing is, it was a renewal. So somebody gave it him before. I wonder who is that. Gigi say he give it to him. I wonder if it's those other policemen, commissioners. And if it was a quid pro quo, only do something for me and I go give back all the high office. thing. So people have to understand what's going on here.
Yes.
Those people in office into the police, they're bringing the police service into disrepute. I want them to investigate this Sabga report, and I want to thoroughly investigate this. I think was 60 million drug bust, was for cocaine, was for carrying a firearm. It was serious thing, and we're not hearing nothing about it.
Yeah, including, of course, the fake oil matter that is supposed to have a criminal component.
That was the right hand agreeing with the left hand. And you remember this fella? He was the lawyer for Malcolm Jones, and he advised with the other Casey the thing to pull it out. All them people, all them things make taxpayers money.
Of course, it's too coincidental to be coincidence. Outside of human deliberate conscious intervention.
And Casey are looking for cover when you going to degrade beyond or
I hear you. You have another caller. Thanks very much.
Okay,
of course.
good.
Yes.
Take care.
Yes.
Nice. Bye.
Go ahead, caller.
Pleasant night, Mr. Lennox.
Pleasant good night to you, my friend.
Night.
Go ahead.
Yeah, to you and your followers, your numbers.
Yes.
Your numbers looking nice.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, what? You know, on a ship, a captain had to be the last person to jump off.
Yes.
You know that, right?
Yes. I sense where you're going. That's why I'm laughing. But go ahead. Say it.
Right.
Get your kudos on your own. Go ahead.
Right. So here what? I want you to play a clip.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could find it right away. A song by Lady Gypsy.
Yes.
Political Cemetery.
Political
you know that
Cemetery
tune, right?
is by Gypsy's sister, Lady Gypsy.
Yeah, Lady Gypsy.
Oh, Lady Gypsy.
That is not his sister?
I thought you, when I say Gypsy, you deal with the male automatically.
Nah,
you're right.
Nah, I'm talking about Lady Gypsy.
Yeah, you're correct. Yes.
Yeah, well, if you could find that tune, because I don't think much people know that song.
Yeah, they don't know. Well, I mean, that is unfortunate. Let me just deal with it one time. Because, of course, that is something that
all right.
must be familiar with. Yes, indeed.
All right. And you know what they can handle with you? What they can handle with you, Lennox?
What?
You is a man, you're carrying the fight tonight. You're carrying the fight tomorrow night.
That's right.
You're carrying the fight to them in the morning.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So they can't take that kind of consistency with you. They can't take it.
Just after, not afternoon per se, but evening, when people are going home and they're going to take off the clothes and relax and maybe get prepared for dinner, I'll be there as well in another capacity.
There's a lot of them on the chat.
Yes, we have to.
There's a lot of them on the chat.
Yeah.
A lot of them on the chat, right?
Yes.
They're trying to discriminate. They're trying to discriminate your intelligence.
Right.
You understand? But as a black man, you're setting the example. You're showing them how bright you're bright. Have a pleasant night.
Yes, indeed. And I would reciprocate by saying they are not as blind as he or she who refuses to see. All right. Yes, indeed. Thanks very much, of course, for that intervention. But I think I had to do you justice there. So here we go.
Look for the clip.
No, listen to it one time, man. I ain't making a joke. Yes, indeed. Listen to it one time, man.
It is for all them politicians, and I dig in their grave, no fuck with me. I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians, and I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long, and every 5 years is the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down, so I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he, with joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politicians, only making up numbers in
cemetery. It's not for people. I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians, and I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long, and every 5 years is the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down, so I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he, with joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politicians, only making up numbers in my island. Al-Rari, I refuse body. I leave them Muslim, them to deal with he. Big smile on my face and with me bare hand. It's time to move trash from out of this land.
Yes, indeed. Of course, you will appreciate what the last caller was recommending and suggesting. The music alone and the lyrics therein speaks for themselves.
Bury in the back of my cemetery. Turn the upside down, he face I can see. Look for the strongest grave digger to cover he. Not with the hand, put good fuck on he. Gypsy, political grasshopper. I may feel little pity cause he's my brother. But like Tarzan, he's swinging from vine to vine. It's time I help you to make up your mind. Fitzgerald, Rasta City. I know they go glad to get the body. Resi on be tam down fall to see. Drink 2 beers and watch Coco get happy. I don't care all who go vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. She's a strong, determined woman like me, and deserve a chance to run this country. When she in power, I don't go hungry. And Calypso does get big money. She don't deserve no spot in my cemetery. I put in she in the center of the city. Vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. I don't care all who go vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. She's a strong, determined woman like me, and deserve a chance to run this country. When she in power, I don't go hungry. And Calypso does get big money. She don't deserve no spot in my cemetery. I put in she in the center of the city. I don't care all who go vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. She's a strong, determined woman like me, and deserve a chance to run this country. When she in power, I don't go hungry. And Calypso does get big money. She don't deserve no spot in my cemetery. I put in she in the center of the city. Paula, you too damn lazy. You sit on a throne while women die daily. You deserve a nice spot in my cemetery. All you do is just collect big salary. Regis, you disappoint me with your racial tongue. You like you can see. Your baba does trim you with weed waka. All day all you do is punch Sushila. Finally, boy, you is a boss. I celebrate with you when TNM lost. One day you must come bust a line with me. We go knock a glass, make myself happy. I yadi that what you is to me. A grassroots man, stand up for country. I will stand by your side and watch you at work. But if you falter, you're going to get fucked. Watson, what is wrong with you? I thought you and Fally would have stick like glue. Boy, shake the man hand and tighten that space before PNM come back and win that race. Shamfa, one we sacrifice. Yet every week she have new weave, man, she living nice. You and the cold pot man resemble and strong. A bum seated red and you like a tongue.
Yes, people. Wonderful. I think very appropriate. And of course, we have to continue. Of course, we would want to hear that over and over because it reflects, of course, the truth of Trinidad and Tobago today, political-wise. But of course, there was an issue that I would like to, of course, conclude with. And that is, of course, the decision to make Stuart Young the person to succeed Rowley, manipulated clearly by Rowley. And I've always said that he knows where the bones are buried. In other words, he knows all Rowley's secret. Both of them have been, of course, engaged in this kind of conspiracy to, of course, and whether it is conscious or not. But if it is that you have decided to misappropriate, if you have decided to corruptly gain from the resources of the country and to steal from the citizenry, some prefer to say from the taxpayers. They love to use that term, so let us use it here as well. Then inadvertency does not appear or apply because you set out a thief. And this kleptocratic group of individuals, led by clearly a man who has no respect for public policy, public justice, and not just the rule of law as we explained earlier, but the sanctity of his oath of office, are talking about Rowley. We have seen that the cabinet itself has turned into a mafia syndicate. And of course, that has been facilitated by the appalling use of legitimate mechanisms such as the recent law of recusal, or should I say recusal being part or as a consequence of the law that was created, which was of course questionably completed, but it is the law, are talking about procurement, the procurement law, the procurement act, the procurement associated regulations. And therefore, recusal became the order of the day. Some say over 1,000 recusal. Rowley alone has been identified of course, recusing himself in questionable conflict of interest circumstance in the cabinet, In any other country, that is considered treason. That is considered abuse. And those who were involved would have had the moral obligation to get out. But these fellas are immoral. And therefore they are criminals. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Yes, good night. This is Silver Fox here.
Yes, good night, my friend.
Yes, man. Now, we have to understand something with the PNM. Rowley, it's alleged, them people in that party are afraid of Rowley. We have to understand that they are afraid of him. It's alleged it has boosted them up. For big people, I don't understand how them could take this nonsense. They're in this party so many years, and black people, and they have no say. They have no say. All they could do is sit down and listen. And one bald-headed man, telling them everything to do, and they're just doing it. Everything is yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. They're not saying no, sir, at all, right? It is wrong. All you have, some of you have children, and all of us correct all the children. Why are you making a man do only what he wants, when he wants, how he wants? All you have to be bigger than that, right? And I want to say something. It have some people just call on the program, and they know directly they are PNM. right? Now, election coming and the grass start to cut. Some of them heads start to show, right? And we have to weed them out because they just come starting Rowley this, Rowley that, and then they will just hear them start off after that. And Camilla this and Camilla that, and she should do this and she should do that. But they are not sticking to a point. They're going all over the place like mad ants, right? And we have to stop all this nonsense. Election is coming, and it is coming soon. And we have a job to do, and we have to focus. The focus is we have to vote the PNM out. And I want Trinidad and Tobago give me a hand. Well, me singing, eh? I want Trinidad and Tobago to give me a hand to get rid of PNM in this land. And I myself would like to hear a tune too, right?
Yes.
Folks too. Old people say are folks too. I want to hear a tune by George.
Give me a hand to get the PNM
out of this land.
From this land. Okay, I hear you, my friend.
Right?
It rhymes. I'm sure somebody somewhere listening and watching may well, of course, take up that and make it part and convert it into, of course, a full refrain against, of course, what is happening. Yes.
Yeah, but they have to remember Silver Fox, eh?
All right, okay. Where the idea came from. Yes, that is intellectual property. Yes.
I want to hear a tune by a little piece. Just a little piece of tune by George Nooks.
Okay.
Right? George Nooks. Bridge Over Troubled Water. Just a little piece.
I hear you.
Right? Just continue a little piece of George Nooks.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, I hear you.
Yes, man. Pleasant good night, everybody. Miss Santa Cruz, pleasant good night. Miss Woodbrook, I don't know if it has been listening, but pleasant night between the two of you are champions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, of course. Usual, of course, that is the usual, of course, inimitable, but very valid, of course, contribution by, of course, our Tobago, what I consider to be stalwart, consider to be a patriot, nationally, of course, the Silver Fox himself. He goes by the sobriquet, I should say, Silver Fox. That being as it may, there is an issue that I thought I should, of course, address as well, because you see, I don't want it to be said that or be accused of not frontally, of course, addressing these problems. In today's newspaper, one of the newspapers, there was a situation where, of course, we established that Stuart Young will be, of course, the successor to Rowley, so we have established that. And therefore, of course, there are objective commentators that are saying that Rowley has literally shot himself in the foot, so to speak, by that action. And generally, that has been so by the independent observers. But let's go to the line before, of course, I continue with the direction in which I want to take this argument. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Yes, my friend. A pleasant good night as well. Silver Fox just, of course, preceded you. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
I enjoy your show, man. I enjoy everything.
All right, great.
You see all your man and brothers and them don't understand this is not intelligent. This is not a Chinese movie, you know. You understand?
Yes.
This is not a joke here. These people let them take chance to be was a joke. So Young is a total joker. So you don't understand what Arriva talking about. She may be a joker too. Because I don't understand what they're talking about. So Young was never, not even a good lawyer. So from one foolish person to the next one now, come on, man.
Yeah, dumber.
I don't know how people could be backing these people. All the real down there. All the real. We don't want Robbie here. I don't know who tell Robbie that people to make already want to care about him. This Trinidad pushing Robbie. Robbie and them, it was man, for 9 years this country at a standstill. 9 years. We ain't got nowhere with this PNM government. And you know this thing what about me? The area of PNM has always been his most crime-ridden area in Trinidad. You understand?
Yes.
People always suffer in it. They always say they need police to raid them, beat them up and do all kind of things. And these people, when time comes for them to change things that happen to them, they keep on going back and voting the same way. But let me tell you something, we not about doing that, you know. We give the PNM 21 years into the last thing that Rowley do, and he know for sure, he get in the hot water line into the oil. He know for sure. You see the last thing we do, the cut and thing when he do to Tobago?
Yeah.
He know that coming from him. Let them know that the airport that he been in where was supposed to be more than 60 years now. That ain't no excuse for him to get back in power into the oil. I don't know if you don't know that, you know. You better check and know that, well, what are the reasons why he too ain't going back, you know? Because it's far too Patrick man in the house. That is where Rowley escape from it.
Yeah.
Because anytime you put him by they're going to get about it, they're going to see us get about by UNC.
Yeah, but are you hearing me? Because I want to ask you a question. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. We know you trying to escape that. That's one of the factors here. But are you hearing me? Because I want to.
Just imagine people asking for raise their salary. You don't even want to give them 50%. But you take more than 24% just because you're the boss. How that could ever be right? And people calling, and just imagine that people calling and trying to justify this kind of horrendous kind of attitude to these people. You already tax free. You already everything for you tax free. And you doing that. I can't understand how people can be justifying these things and are man and talking nonsense.
Yeah,
I mean,
are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
get the
Because I want to ask you a question.
If you are not to say, get off the freaking place and stop talking stupidness, woman.
I hear you. I
Stop
hear
get
you.
off the blasted place and stop talking stupidness.
But are you
They
hearing
come
me?
annoyance now.
Can I ask you a question? Are you hearing me?
Yes, Lennox.
All right, listen.
Yeah, hearing you.
All right. The PNM did their screening in Tobago. We anticipated that on the ground report. We predicted that would have been one of the reasons to use state funds in order, of course, to make that happen. Quite apart from the so-called retreat that they would have had. No, but they are claiming now that they paid it their own way. All right, okay. I know that they could afford it. They could more than afford it because of what I consider the ill-gotten largesse that they would have in their possession. But that is not the point. What I observe is that none of the incumbents, none of those who represent, whether it's Shamfa, whether of course it be what's the other one? The other candidate, the other
one from Tobago East.
Yeah,
Webster Roy.
Yes. The Webster Roy. Yes. What I observe is that there is no one contested them. Why? Why you think so? Because I would have expected that the PNM has lost magnificently, of course, embarrassingly, and spectacularly, the House of Assembly in Tobago. Then I would have expected that they would have had to play a part in that, because the people would have felt that they didn't represent them sufficiently, and therefore they have turned against them. They have turned against the PNM. And so the PNM lost magnificently in Tobago. How come nobody else, the point I'm making, how come nobody, what is your view? How come nobody else, say, but 2 or 3 other
right,
places?
I want to explain to you. You see the last quarter they get in Tobago?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tobago has turned away from them. I tell you since you the cut business here.
They can't find people.
They can't find nobody. People realize what they do.
All right, okay.
They can't find nobody else.
Right,
nobody don't want to post.
I suspect
nobody
that,
don't want to post.
From a Tobagonian, yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, nobody don't want to post.
Yeah.
Because them two girls is poster girls. Them is poster girls. Them need to go by the airport and let them put a picture of them by the airport.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing they could talk about.
Yeah.
But after every project that they do in Tobago is only thief. Yeah. We have a library bill in Tobago was supposed to complete at a cost of 90 million.
Even Tricky Tracy, she was called.
Yeah.
And that line project that never.
Well, you notice you don't hear that now, she.
Yeah.
She like she disappear in the air, you know.
Yeah.
She like a vapor coming from a pot. She disappear. But you see what happened to all of them? She disappear like a smoke coming, like when you're cooking, you know, the vapor that's go up in here. She disappear like that. So you see, the problem about them, Lennox, these people and them doesn't understand that there's a time and an end for everything. But the 1% in Trinidad had a plan up the sleeve long time.
Yes.
They are the people who put Rowley there. Because remember when he go along there and he cry like a baby down Westmore into them.
Yes.
You see, all right? We go pay there and you're going to make sure we get everything. And he did just that. But what I know, they couldn't put Stuart Young at the beginning because black people in this country don't want Stuart Young. And I don't know who tells Stuart Young he's going to be staying there.
Yeah.
Right now, Freddie Ferrer and all of them, them old-time men and them in the party don't want no part of Stuart Young. It's going to have a serious problem with the PNM. And that will cause them to get some cutters at the polls.
Yeah, but do you think, and now that you're saying that, because Tobago must be the example, must be, let's say, the standard or the place to, of course, glean information from. Do you think that, of course, Rowley himself is not seen as a credible, let's say, over the years, standard bearer for the PNM, and therefore
no.
that too.
Listen, Rowley rise the PNM back to getting power.
PNM, so that
Rowley was never a PNM, you know. He ride on the back to getting PNM, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You remember who he was with, you know? Remember that, you know?
Yeah, he was a Jack.
He was a Jack.
Yeah.
The man who bring him into politics was Robinson, you know, and he stabbed Robinson in the back, and he do this same thing to Manning.
Right. Yeah.
Because that was the man was supposed to succeed Robinson in Tobago, you know. Wasn't what your chance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And after all that happened in 1990, Robinson sidelined him.
Right.
And so he ended up going across and Manning pull him in. And you see what he do to Manning.
And Manning regret to his death.
Yeah. But let me tell you something. Webster Roy have a man. You have a man Tobago is sending up against Webster Roy. Webster Roy can't be that fella.
Right.
You know what I'm telling you? I'm calling the man name because I secret right now.
Right.
You have a man going up against she can't beat him at all. Because he's a well-known man in Tobago East. And also the man going up in West Champa dead. Down on that side.
Yes, all right. Well, thank you for that.
Them are sandwich them out. Them are political suicide right now.
Clearly, I suspected that because
them are getting maroon in Tobago. What time you go see?
Yeah.
You're getting maroon, man. Yeah, so have a good night.
Yeah, same to you, my friend. And people, of course.
Yeah, take care.
I asked that specific question because I want the people of Laventille and along the East-West corridor in the various constituencies to understand. Because it is clear that the two incumbents, Kojo and Webster Roy, would have fallen out, or put another way, the people would have fallen out in Tobago with them. And that is why PNM got such a solid and convincing curtail. And yet still, they are the only one to go back up for the PNM in Tobago. It means PNM has lost all credibility and all validity for anybody to come to say they're going and represent the PNM. So them had to go back because they've done it already, and they are committed, and they have been eaten from the corrupt trough, and therefore they have to go back and, of course, get the tail cut. In other words, they are committing suicide, political suicide right now, from an electoral perspective. But let's go to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox.
Yes,
back at you.
Yes.
You hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I want to be quick about this. No, I don't want these people to get misled with the two names, Kamala and Kamala. Right?
Yeah,
Kamala has three A's in it.
All right.
Kamala has two.
Right.
Right? Now, I saw on your chat last night where some unscrupulous individuals, right, spoke about why does Kamala want people to hold her hands when she walk in. Well, here's what I want to say. Hand and foot alone don't run country. Brains is run country. Right?
Yeah.
And if you watch that Monday night meeting, how she unfolded and broke down so many information based upon the old age pension, if she wasn't diligent and paying attention, that bill would have slipped right through. One of the things I want to say is that Kamala was selected to run for the presidency in America. She wasn't elected. She was like a kind of late ticket. That is why she lost to Trump, because she didn't go through the process of going up against other opponents. You understand? As Trump did.
To choose
Trump
the
went
best
up.
among them
Right.
as far as the Democrats are concerned. Yes, I agree with you. Yes.
Right. It's like they couldn't find nobody else and they just throw she inside
well,
it.
it's the same thing that's happening in Tobago right now. They can't find anybody else, so they put back these people because they would have contributed to the spectacular loss of the PNM in 2022. How the hell, them alone, they were unopposed,
No.
and they put them back there. So it is clear. So there is a sort of a similarity in terms of
you
Kamala
have
and of
you
course
have to
these people.
you have to admire the opposition leader for her collectiveness and her mental capacity to remember things
Yes.
from way back. She's a great example as a constitutional lawyer. For real. You are also a great example to black people that you could show them that being educated is not only about skin color and texture here. It have black educated people out there.
That's right.
You understand? And once you keep up being that example on a consistent basis, people will gravitate towards you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So all the naysayers, all those naysayers saying that she has to go, Kamala still has a lot to give to this country. Or else she's not a beggar. Look where she live in. Her husband is a doctor. She has her pension that she get in. She could throw in the towel and say, I done with this. But what I figure to myself, when she reflect on what is taking place in this country, she does probably cry in her heart to see the state of affairs in this country, from where she was bringing it from to what it is today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Lennox.
I want to tell you, my friend, not because you have, given me some commendations, but because of your generic understanding of the critical, what I consider to be potential and real players to take us out of the morass and the decadence and the deteriorating circumstance that we have found ourselves, only because of a marauding bunch of opportunistic political criminal parasites who, of course, are just reckless and will continue, of course, on that path if we do not make the intervention that we must this year in the national election. There's more I want to say, but of course I will have to give way to the caller, and then of course subsequent to his presentation, I certainly will have to, of course, engage. But a pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, good night. Dick Elvin here.
Hey, how are you going, man? And all the best to you and your family.
Yeah, nah. I want to know when we win elections, when we having transformation and family day. We could have it in Tobago. I want to line with Silver Fox on him, you know.
I hear you.
When we gonna, how we celebrate that?
Repeat that again. Let me. I think I got a part of it, but not all of it.
I said when we win elections.
Oh,
you
yes.
hear that?
Yes, go ahead.
When are we going to have Transformation Family Day?
Oh, no. You're being preemptive. You're being, let us take it one day at a time. Let's win first.
Because I would like to hang out in Tobago with Silver Fox and I want them kind of car.
I think that's a very good idea, though. Very good idea.
Yeah.
But certainly, our monofocus, our incisive focus, our singular focus is, of course, winning the elections, and then, of course, these celebratory ideas will manifest itself.
Well,
not that I am telling you do not, of course, advance such a possibility, but of course the focus will have to be winning the elections first, because one will have to happen before the other one manifests itself, right? That's all?
Yeah, but
Anyway,
that's still in the bag because I done it. I was in town today and all of them PNM who I know they walk around with their head low because I only telling them I say your old PNM crook you get a Chinese now. Don't you watch him, man.
well, and that is on top of what I was telling them. I say, listen, you have a rapist and a pedophile as your leader, and you
Yeah.
talking to me, and I walk off. Boy,
Yeah.
that's on them. So now that we have a situation where a Chinese man now, all the time you're saying you were made, you were conditioned, you were brainwashed into believing that somehow the Indians are your enemy by, of course, the leadership of the PNM over different incarnations. Now, now you have you are faced with a situation where you have a non-African as a symbol of the leadership of the PNM. You're quite right, and you should, of course, bring it into the narrative, bring it into the discussion, and of course to capture their attention, but to puncture their conscience and to see how dotish they have been over the years.
No, but what I'm saying, Lennox, it's not really a nice thing to say because the song a little bad because it sound like you're racist in some way, but the way they used to get on. You understand?
Yes.
Because I don't watch ethnicity and people race and all kind of thing. Once you're doing good at your job.
That's right. This performance is ability. All of that will set you free. Not these extraneous and emotional ties and mental. Should I say biases? That they can engage in. Yeah, you're quite right. Yes.
And the thing is that they were so proud of Rowley, but I don't know, boy. They were so proud of Rowley, but like they know how to be. The P fall out are proud now. They're just proud.
I agree, my friend. Well said and well done.
Yeah.
All right.
Later.
Yeah, that's right. Now, the point I was making, boy, we have another call. Sorry about that, but that is how the cookie crumbles, and therefore we have to respond. Professor, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox Smith. How are you going, my brother?
Well, I'm all right, and yourself and your family.
Yeah, everybody cool, and blessed 2025 to everyone.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
again, I delay because I'm watching you. Still, so which means I'm on a delay. But your program's still going on.
All right, thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. Lennox, you know what I realized? Do you know that Dr. Rowley court-martialed the PNM while they're in power?
If the what?
He court-martialed the PNM by changing up the PNM leadership for his own purpose. Now, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, but that's a kind of bizarre court-martial because I mean you normally court-martial for some evil, some iniquity, against somebody. But in this case, is a court-martial, if you want to call that, to promote his own agenda and to make sure that his diabolical legacy continues, of course, to prevail within the bosom of the PNM. And whilst he is outside, of course, flying all over the place and believing that somehow he has gotten away with all of the robberies and the evil that he has perpetrated on the people whilst he was Prime Minister.
And if Mr. Stuart Young is his best choice and he teach Stuart Young how to handle the story because you are carrying Stuart Young all about. Now, let me tell you something. There's certain things you're hearing in public space right now.
Yeah.
When you hear somebody tell somebody, you could take that bill and put it with the monkey for the nuts. I hope Stuart Young didn't learn that. I hope Stuart Young didn't learn you could push your umbrella and open it up inside there. I hope he didn't learn that.
Well, you can't be too sure, because he said that Kamala Prasad Misuse is going to do some kind of zami in the toilet. And so you never could tell. It's early days yet. So just as Rowley, we thought Rowley was, of course, a stickler for anti-corrupt behavior. But it turns out that he's a promoter of corruption.
I want to tell some people good night. You see the people them who can't bite the tongue right now, all in Port of Spain, all in the taxi and them.
Beautiful.
They get to realize now that the PNM is not a black party anymore.
That's
They
right.
realize that now. And I want to thank Dr. Rowley for setting black people free and taking his knee off of our neck by making that choice. And you black people in the East-West Corridor, when that election date call, I want to see you all rally around Stuart Young, like if Stuart Young is somebody you all know from since in the 80s. We only know Stuart Young alongside of Email Gate live with Dr. Rowley. That when all of you all know, I and all get to know Stuart Young that time, but he's a prominent lawyer outside, like in Venezuela, Caracas, Cuba, all them places there. You understand? Them people out there know him very well. That is why we have a heavy influx of Venezuelan here. That was not Dr. Rowley doing. That was Mr. Stuart Young. Mr. Stuart Young, I hope somebody tell you what it is I now say. So for that reason, we will make sure you never see the corridor of power in Trinidad and Tobago. Good night, my brother.
On his own, yes, my friend. Thank you very much, of course. And I want to tell you, go to the top of the class at the same time for that a very concise and precise, of course, analysis, because of course sarcasm will get you everywhere as well, because of course you were questioning and hoping that he didn't learn certain utterances or certain expressions of derogatory nature and nestled of course in what is called hatred of women, hater of women, and of course we have already seen some elements of that in the character, in the personality, and in the public space, because you don't want to be more public than in Parliament, where of course he talked about Zami, referencing of course the opposition leader. I mean, that is so misogynic. I mean, it defies of course even comprehension to see that a man will talk that kind of what I consider to be devilish and low-level language in the highest court of the land. I'm talking about the parliament and in the parliamentary chamber. Just talking it in the parliamentary chamber itself is a cardinal sin fallace. But let's go to the lines. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Yeah, Lennox, pleasant good night again.
Yes, good night.
So Lennox, so our duty right now is to educate the masses, right?
Yes.
And one of the best way we could do it is by learning from history, right?
That's right.
Right. So when people ask the question by how it is we reach in this position as a nation, and they say, but you know, you have to go back in the history and understand where it stemmed from, right? And I was listening to a program where a caller was telling, I think it was Wall Street, that this song of my soul sing, To Serve with Love. I send it here on YouTube.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll be able to play it tonight or wherever, but when I listen to that song, black people especially were supporting the PNM. If Lennox decide to play this song tonight, all they need to listen to it. Because everything that man singing that song how much years ago, we experienced it now as black people in this country. So it's about time we start to educate ourselves. And one more thing before I go, Lennox, I remember some years ago in the States, they used to say black people wasn't educated. And you know what they used to do? If they want to hide certain information from them, you know what they used to do? They used to put it in a book because they say black people don't like to read. But this generation today in America, where the law enforcement is concerned, they're making sure they learn the laws of the land. So when the police and them want to come sideways with them in the States, they're learning the laws to deal with them. And it's the same thing we have to do here in Trinidad. But we need to scrap that constitution and create a new one, and they need to start to teach it in the school. Because that is one of our problems too where the education is concerned. They're hiding a lot of things from us where the education is concerned, and it's not really benefiting the generation to come. Right, Lennox? So I send you that song there by my show, To Serve with Love.
To Serve with
I
Love.
wish you could play that song tonight to everybody here.
I'll take a look at it. I'll try my best to take a look at it tonight. I think it's Maestro too that if you're playing that, I don't know the lyrics, and the theme itself seemed to be foreign to me. But of course, I'm very familiar with, of course, Who Trinidad is Nice For. I think it was sung by the same Maestro. Trinidad is nice, and I could be corrected, but I think it's he who sang that for certain people, such as Sabga, etc., etc., to serve it love. So I'll take a look at it and see whether or not we have the capacity to play it. Time is not of essence because I pay particular attention to things that are significant, and therefore, if it is significant, we do what we have to do in order to make certain that the job gets done, which is, of course, to make certain that the UNC gets a 39 seat in Trinidad, having regard to the destruction that the PNM under Rowley has produced. Let's go to the lines. Professor, good night. Let me just take this other one here. Professor, good night. All right, I have two persons, one on the handset. So I'm talking a little closer here. So go ahead, caller.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Wayne.
Yes, Mr. San Fernando, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I call up just now and he talk about the intelligence of Kamala.
Yes.
Right. It really takes brains to run a country, but Monday night meeting, right? I enjoyed it because all the speakers spoke well. All the speakers. I don't think that the PNM could beat this bunch of people that the UNC putting up. Geraldine John especially, she came across real good. Even Wayne Sturge. Wayne Sturge is another one that came across real good. But I want to tell you something beside this,
Go ahead.
Right? And I'm going down. It's not going on a kind of a road here, right?
Go ahead.
I don't know if you look at Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes, yes. I love that thing because my forte, my area, of course, is criminology. So things like that. I would want to. I would be familiar with. Let me put it that way. Of necessity, yes.
I'm going on a kind of road here.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes. If you're watching a TV and you're looking at Sherlock Holmes and you go and open your fridge door, you will see nuts and banana.
Okay.
He says that he wants you to take the nuts and tell Rowley where to put the nuts.
Okay. I hear you.
Only when Rowley put the nuts where he's supposed to put the nuts, right? Then you could go back to your fridge and eat the banana. But if you do that, right, you can't eat the banana.
I hear you.
No, I say it so because Sherlock
Holmes. Yeah,
Holmes
one the moral of the story, yes. Go ahead.
Because Sherlock Holmes says that the head of the ass is in the wrong place.
I see. Oh my goodness. I hear you because he eating from the rear. He consuming from the rear. He imbibing from the rear. He chewing from the rear. I hear you. And therefore he swallowing from the rear. I hear you. Yes, my friend. I hear you. Yes.
So, no, you see, it takes brains to run a country, and this man have no brain.
Yeah, boy.
Rowley he have no brain
I think
at
he
all.
probably dally up in rocks too much.
You understand? No. You understand? No, that's the message from Sherlock Holmes there. But on a serious note, right? I mean, also last night it was really good. Last night the program was really good.
Thank you
and
very
I
much.
enjoyed it last night.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it tonight. I enjoyed it tonight too. So but I want to say that you should keep up the good work that you're doing, right? And I wish you all the best for this year.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right.
Yes. I just want to ask a question now. I just did something there that I ought not to have done, it appears. So I don't know if on Facebook, if you are seeing me, if I am coming across. I don't know if I'm coming across on Facebook. So anybody who is on Facebook, and we are still on because I'm seeing I took off the platform inadvertently here. So just in case, I'll get it back going. I was trying to get, of course, that piece of music that was sent by Maestro. and I did something that I normally would not do, but in an attempt to try to, of course, get the music to play tonight, I might have done something that would have disconnected at least the Facebook page. I think the YouTube is still up and running. Let me just check on that and see. I just want to make certain that we do not lose
Lennox.
anything at all. Hello?
Lennox.
Oh, yes.
I would like to tell you that, yeah, you are still up and running on Facebook.
All right, good. Okay.
That's the
thanks.
first thing.
All right, good,
okay?
Thanks. Yes.
So you're still up and running. And the other thing two things that I want to mention is what a previous caller talked about. PNM supporters, they hold their head down because they get a Chinese.
Okay.
But this is not the first Chinese that PNM has, you know, in the sense that if we look at the wife of the Prime Minister as being the First Lady, Eric Williams was married to a Chinese woman.
Right,
so that is the second Chinese we get. And the other thing, knowing how PNM people are, there was a saying that you could put a crapo, a balize tie on a crapo, and them fools would vote for that. So, Stilton is an idiot, everybody knows that. But as long as he wears the PNM logo, there is that possibility that the fools would vote for Stuart Young, not because of Stuart Young per se, but because of what he represents. He represents the PNM.
Yeah.
And there's this perception that only the PNM can run Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
So that's it for that's all I have to say.
But don't you think? I hope that you would stay on the line. But don't you think
I'm still here.
But don't you think that? While of course I hear you with respect to a Chinese and William, but she was not the Prime Minister. No.
Yeah, but she was the First Lady.
Yeah, she was the First Lady. But in the case of this particular situation, he will be the Prime Minister. Now, the point I am making to you here really is, don't you think that part of the propaganda, let's say matrix, part of the brainwashing agenda of the PNM through the leadership has always been the symbolizing of this African party notion by having an actual African at the helm? So Eric William was an African. A temporary fellow was George Chambers, but then he had a very, what I consider to be ephemeral stint, because it was very short. But then everybody else, and in fact when Rowley was pursuing the course of attempting to be leader of the party, he did say, and Heinz endorsed it by saying he was too he was too black, I believe, something of the sort, to be the head of the PNM. So his light skin, probably Africans suggested. But the point I am making here, to get a long story short, is that would it not now take away some of the, what I consider to be the imagery consequential of the propaganda and the brainwashing that has over many generations have sustained and worked for the PNM as a political organization in this country? Don't you think it would take away at minimum?
Don't.
No? All right.
I don't. You know why I'm saying I don't?
Yeah.
Because everybody is aware that the financiers of PNM are not black people. The major financiers of PNM are.
But do you
who
think?
are they?
All right, I'm glad that you mentioned that. If you take it there, but do you really think that the rank and file of the PNM really knows that? And the rank and file I'm talking about, those persons who will go to the conventions, of course, and vote and so on, and of course those who are non-party card holders, but over the years traditionally have, of course, seen the PNM as their party of choice, above and beyond all others. Do you think that?
Well, today, Lennox, anybody who is not aware today of who the real financiers of the PNM are, if they don't know, it's because they do not want to know.
All right, because you see,
And
why I'm
remember-
saying that is because the financiers remain, of course, faceless. They do their best to be invisible, and I suspect that the leadership likes it that way, so that they could somehow believe that the party generates its own funding. For example, the construction of Balize House. When the question was asked, they say that it's members of the party, and of course, a raffle that created over $100 million in mortar, steel, and other let's say material in order to construct that monstrosity. So that's why I'm saying that they seem to have this nag to generate elaborate camouflagery to avoid the rank and file and those who are sympathetic, believing in truth that, of course, these different texture of hair and color of skin people are in fact the owners of the PNM. I don't know.
Well, listen, it is because the PNM think that black people are fools. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, go ahead.
They believe that black people are fools. And that is why that perception that PNM is a black party and so on would continue to prevail. But as I said, everybody is aware. It is abundantly clear. When Anthony Bourdain was in Trinidad, you remember that guy?
Yes.
I think he's a chef.
Yeah, he
interviewed the one percenters. And the man, that one percenter that he was interviewing, sitting around that table there, he made it clear that we are the smallest minority. We are a very tiny minority, but we have the power. And only a damn fool wouldn't understand what the hell he meant by that.
You see, you mentioned something there that is a bit, let's say, amorphous, generates, of course, a gray area for contemplation, or even a lacuna, maybe a missing part. Because if I am to assess what you are saying, and I am neither here nor there, but for the time being, but I understand that the job of the leadership of the party, whatever it is to project that imagery, and even if everybody know one way or another that the real owners are those persons who are not of them, but the strident and the persistent and the potency of the narrative and the symbolizing, because they will talk that every day, that listen, don't matter what, don't let them people come into office, who is them people? It ain't the Syrians and them, it's the Indians they're referring to, because the idea is to target, and to message the package message in such a way so that the rank and file and those who are sympathetic ignore the reality in the background, and to, of course, take what the leadership is saying in order for them to stay in office as a party. That's how I see it. I mean, I don't know if I've put in another element there that you may want to consider. Go ahead.
I'll say one more thing and then I'll leave.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, they say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yes.
Now, what I'm saying is this. We have to look at the condition of black people under the PNM since 1956.
I just tying up with another caller on the system. Go ahead.
We have to look at the condition under which black people live in Trinidad under the PNM for decades. And black people are at the bottom of the totem pole. And, you know, the law, when you go to the prison and the remand yard, who's there? Black folk. who bring in the dope and the guns into Trinidad? It ain't black people. But they are not in the prison, but we are.
Yes.
So I hope you catch my drift with that.
No,
Because
I
black people-
understand that very clearly. My thing is that to what extent the rank and file and the sympathizers are conscious or are made to be conscious that it is not who you are seeing fronting as the party leadership, but is those who are the players in the back. And to what extent they are conscious, are talking about the finances and so on from the Syrian community and other parts. In other words, let me put it this way: the 1%ers that are really and truly in control of the PNM financially and so on. But the leadership's job is to make them believe it is not so, and that has to be the reason for their success over the years.
But I'll say this and I'm gone. A previous caller who talked about whenever you see a press conference or there's a photo up with, say, meeting an ambassador or somebody from overseas, we see black people like little mice sitting down quiet, but their mouths shut. And we would see, well, of course, Rowley is the prime minister.
Yes.
But we would see non-Africans in the forefront, and black people in the background. And one more thing, that Calypso, I think, is Valentino.
Valentino, yes, it's Valentino, yes,
Valentino sang that.
Yeah.
Okay,
that is
I'm
nice.
gone, man.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye, yes. We still have, because I'm not entirely convinced
Yes,
that.
good night, Lennox. You're
that
not on
people
Facebook.
know-
I've seen you well, man.
Hello?
I've seen you on Facebook.
All right, good, thanks. All right.
Nice to be good here, yeah.
Yes, all right, let me just get this other call. Pleasant good night, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Lennox. Let me say this quick, right?
Go ahead.
Here's don't forget that song.
No. Which one?
If you could get it to play it in the morning
Which
on
one
ground
of
report,
them?
right? That'll be a nice thing. If you could get the Gypsy song to play in the morning.
All right, okay.
Lady Gypsy song. Medical Cemetery in the
Lady
morning.
Gypsy, I'll
on the
give it to
ground
Andy
report.
in the morning. Yes. I'll give it to Andy. Yes. All right. That's it.
Right. And hear what?
Yeah,
Hear
go
what?
ahead. Mhm.
Hear what? I endorsing
Hold on.
Julian John.
We have another
for
caller.
pri-
Another line.
I endorsing.
Yes, go
Yes,
ahead,
I
sir.
endorsing Julian John.
Are you speaking to me, sir?
Julian John,
No,
I am
I'm speaking to
endorsing.
other person. Hold on.
Oh, no problem.
You're endorsing
You hear me now?
Julian John, yes, for what?
For Prime Minister.
Oh, for Prime Minister. Okay, good, no problem. All right.
And it's that.
And it's that. I hear you, my friend. All right, go ahead, caller. You have the entire microphone at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Now, when political parties and the leaders speaking, they usually speaking to their supporters, to the people who would support them.
Hold on.
instance,
I have another caller here. Caller, hold on. I have another caller on the handset. You hold on, please. Go ahead. You're saying that political parties.
Yeah, when they speak to their supporters or their well-wishers or the people who are interested in what they have to say.
Right.
For instance, if I put on the TV or the radio or anything, or any media, pick up my phone and I see a PNM minister or the Prime Minister, so I'd switch that off. I don't want to see or hear them.
Right.
But if I happen to put on the radio or the TV or something and I hear the camera possibly says, so any of the UNC MPs speaking, I would want to hear what they have to say.
Right.
The point I'm making is that when Rowley spoke and said the people of Trinidad and Tobago are stupid,
right,
he was talking to his people. And he only left out the part where he should have said the black people of Trinidad and Tobago are stupid, because he was talking to his people.
I hear you.
And they have to understand that. Now, it could get worse, you know. Can you imagine that those stupid people continue to vote PNM, make Stuart Young the Prime Minister, and then they appoint Fitzgerald Behinds as the Attorney General? Just imagine that catastrophe.
Good night, sir.
I hear you. And of course, the realization of it, unfortunately, like was the case with Hitler. Yeah, going there, like was the case with Mussolini, like the case of all of those dictators. You see it sometime, you see the evidence in a calamity sometime later, but in the interim, I mean, the foundation for this kind of disaster were in the making, but it appears that people were tolerant and complacent and maybe conspirators as well. But let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. I'll take you now, caller. Go ahead. Caller? The caller who just called, going once, going twice. Incoming, all right, okay. I've lost that one. Call back, caller, whosoever it was on the line. All right, so let me just put things in perspective here. I was trying to get to that particular tune that the caller asked me to play. I have it, but I will try to engage it in the background instead. And let me see what is happening here. All right. Let me see how I'm doing that. I want to keep a certain tune because I think this tune is very important as well. I think the one with Gypsy, so I will also have to play the other Gypsy, which of course is timely at this time. That of course the ship is sinking. The Trinidad and Tobago ship.
SOS, SOS, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Help, help. The Trinidad, a luxury liner, sailing the Caribbean Sea. An old captain named Eric Williams. Oh yes, it's smooth and free. But sadly Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, this ship is sinking.
But of course, we know that Trinidad and Tobago has sunk. It has not yet reached rock bottom, which is good. And good in the context that we have an election that will be the saving grace, will be the life rafts for Trinidad and Tobago, when, of course, the elections would have been called, executed, and the results turn out to be, and as I said, I have revised my position of 27 seats for the UNC and whatever configuration to 39. 39. Rowley and the PNM does not deserve a single seat, and it should be, of course, the beginning of what I consider to be not just the retrogression, not just the deterioration, but the extinct to the dustbin of political history in Trinidad and Tobago. We must be reading about the PNM and its iniquities in, of course, books and texts that may be part and parcel of the curriculum of Trinidad and Tobago to, of course, indicate what ought not to be again as a party in Trinidad and Tobago. But I think I got the piece of music that the caller spoke of. I'll play it in the background of the sinking ship video. Let's see it.
Mister, it's me, your black brother. Pressure, indeed inward hunger. The people who are opposing you endlessly, them getting plenty, but you ain't care about me with the 28% I vote. Now you turn round and stroke your convent truth. 90% of the daily buyers are of African descent. But when we buyers confront employers, we get all talk and not employment. The only time they want the naughty head fella is when I come over the counter to spend my dollar. No boss man, no me and talking race. I only place in what taking place in the place. In small.
Of course, that is, of course, the tune that the caller asked me to find. He sent for us, To Serve With Love, by, of course, the Maestro. Let's take in a little piece of it again, because tomorrow night I'll play it in totality. It's already, of course, 4 minutes past 10 o'clock, and I have not completed what I wanted to, of course, leave with you tonight.
But check the place of business and see. If you see 3 darky, well, you see plenty. Now 99% of who buying are of Afro origin. But they employing black and chicken. Although it's my money they're banking. We broken down old car and we campaign for you. You say who could buy car, could pay purchase tax too. And while you're talking this foolishness, you're driving wrong in a big black Austin Princess. Tune boy, Maestro. Unfair, you hear? We ain't getting nowhere. I make you boss. Instead again I lost. Now the bank ain't lending me the money at all. They saying how I have any collateral. Your opponents would get all they want, while your faithful supporters stay on this front. You're straightening out 1 or 2 big papi, who business fix already. Some of them tender their resignation. You put money like sand in their hand.
Yes, people, of course, that is just a taste. Of course, we are winding down. It is already, of course, 6 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. Let me say, of course, don't forget tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mike, and myself. And then, of course, tomorrow night, we resume these and other matters. Of course, I promise to play the entirety of that tune. And I will also, of course, play that tune that, of course, I thought the would have been sung by the Maestro, but I think it is equally significant in the sense of making the African community in particular more conscious, and more significantly making the population realize what the PNM is all about. And I'm sure that all of the references and all of the activities that would have been expressed in those songs would have been referencing the PNM simply because they were in government at that time of Maestro, and time, of course, the other Calypso that I would be, of course, bringing to you, where, of course, it said that there are certain people who Trinidad is nice for, but not for the masses. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, and good night to everybody on the chat.
Yes, good night to you as well, my friend.
You. Nice program, man.
Yes.
Have a safe one for the new year.
Thank you as well. And to yours, yes.
All right. When Williams died, remember they put chambers?
Yes.
And in the 1981 elections, he won the election?
Yes. Yes, he won in 1981. 1986, that he lost, yes.
Right, he lost. So in 1981, he get 180,000 plus votes. In 86, you know he got more votes? 181,000, but he lost 33.
that's an interesting statistical piece of data that requires more analysis because I wasn't aware. But if he got more then, because remember I remember being part of the electoral campaign, very young, enthusiastic in terms of the politics and so on, and being a teacher as well. I remember on a PNM platform, I advocated, and that is when I turned against the PNM because I was made to promise that we will get a basketball court on Passage Street. That is in Laventille. And that would have been 1984, thereabout. I still have to, of course, look for the manifesto of that local government elections. And I went on a platform, and of course, and I made that commitment. And when, of course, it was never delivered, I thought, that is something I cannot associate with. And of course, especially in circumstances where you have the largest of the state, and it's just a matter of not just prioritization, and it's not a matter of non-availability of money either. So there must have been some other factor, maybe the nature of those who are involved to be dishonest and to be dishonorable, and therefore I made my departure. And in 1986, of course, I threw my hat behind the NAR, and after that, of course, it was the UNC in different incarnations, if you want to call it that. Yes, but go ahead, my friend. Thank you for that piece of statistic. I'm certainly going to follow up on it. I'm going to take it from this tape. But if you can send the information for me as well, I will appreciate.
No, I don't.
What's up?
No, I read it on the papers.
Oh, I see. You
A
have that
few
paper?
years ago, but
you have it? But no, it's
no,
easy.
I don't have it. I don't have
it's
it.
easy to
I
find.
don't have it.
I can find the records of the various elections over the years. So that is not a problem.
Yeah, the results.
Yes.
And you would see it.
Okay.
You would see there. No, and next thing too, maybe, I don't know, but something is happening. Is the Cosa Nostra at work? I find two prominent people that too quick,
Two prominent people what?
Die too quick.
Oh, I see. No, but and listen, and when you delve into it a little deeper, you see that is Antoine, Miss Maurice Julian, had replaced, because he was the one already selected, and when he said that of Trump's United States, there is a shithole, the decision makers in the PNM, Rowley in particular, felt that was too, should I say, negative for comfort, because remember, it was in the face of Delcy Rodriguez sending back, of course, 80-something persons to Maduro on a military plane. Rowley, of course, talking I shouldn't say incriminate, but certainly excoriating statements about the Secretary General of the OS, Trinidad and Tobago, of course, abstaining from voting when it came to, of course, the taking action, at least sanctions against Maduro and his administration. All of those things, and of course there was, of course, a joint military maneuver between Trinidad and the Guarda Costa of Venezuela, all of that. So Rowley couldn't take the chance, and therefore, of course, as a symbol to show that he will not tolerate any kind of what I consider to be serious maligning of the United States in order to get into the good graces. Clearly, he then told Antoine, listen, no, you will not be. And Maurice Julian, who had to resign her position as the mayor of Arima at the time, remember Arima, she replaced him in that particular 2020 elections. And listen what transpired. She was the representative for Central Arima. Yes, she was the representative for Central Arima, but of course got the opportunity to be mayor of Arima. And when the by-election came, the UNC won that seat.
I remember.
Yes, that's right. The UNC won that seat. So there is some kind of what I consider to be, you might call it, metaphysics, you may call it karma, you may call it poetic justice, whatever it is. But there is some nexus as we look at that particular case and to find out what really transpired. And of course, it will not escape conspiracy theorists' positions on the matter as well, because the children we understand were also, of course, involved with, of course, some characters that I cannot consider to be what we expect of a parliamentary representative children to associate with. Let me put it that way. All right? Yes. Yes.
Anyway, I was the person who gave you the definition of karma. Eh?
Oh yes, you're the right. Good. So you have given me another piece of information that let's see if karma comes into play here as well. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, of course, for that intervention. Anything else you want to add?
No. That is it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your intervention. All right, yes, indeed, people. Of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. Just one thing I wanted to say, and that is that I saw in the newspaper where, of course, the acceptance of Stuart Young as a prime minister to be, in the meantime, we have to say that because he's not yet there officially. And there were, of course, constituency interrogations by certain media houses, both in, of course, in his constituency, in Stuart Young's constituency of Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, and, of course, in that of Penelope Beckles in Arima. I will, of course, continue after this. Very interesting, and I would love, of course, maybe tomorrow night for your own assessment after, of course, I would have made mine, when I would have completed, of course, the information that I want to share with you. But that being as it may, a pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night. Lennox.
Yes.
Good night
Good night to you.
and everyone on the line.
Yes.
Question. I just want, I like to put things in
I know you like
perspective.
to pose questions for edification purposes, yes.
Right. So the question is now, I thinking ahead, so we go down fix roads.
Yeah.
Do we still own the pitch lake or have part of it, or what's the stories with that right now?
All right, well, this government has made it a feature of their administration and the management of Trinidad and Tobago with non-disclosure clauses. So we are prohibited by non-disclosure. But what I will do, I'll give you that guarantee. I will certainly, of course, through the Freedom of Information Act, find out what has happened, because we are hearing that, of course, it has already been sold, that as well, or some advanced stage of that process has taken place. In addition, of course, to the Port of Spain wharf or the Port of Spain berthing facility there. We don't know. But we have been hearing, and with this government, only when they are confronted, then of course they disclose frontally, but if they are not, they keep it, of course, close to their chest. So I will certainly...
The reason why, one of the reasons why I'm asking this is that when Kamala gets back into office, we need to fix the roads. So, I mean, I'm just using that as part of what it is goes into in paving roads.
Yes.
But we want to know that if we still own something, so that we don't have to say, well, we have to export or import and all these things just to fix our own roads, and we have the stuff here.
No, I agree with you, because last night I was very impressed, and afterwards I omitted to mention it, but I think I should do it now. When, of course, you inquired about other facilities, such as the oil refinery, and I was saying, well, listen, what they have done, of course, is scuttle our energy security position. And there is no, and in the case of course, food security, there is no provision and no efforts are being made to either produce food substitutes or generating sufficient output so as to export, for example, or to, of course, have some preserve by, of course, developing. I think there was some facility down in Moruga for the preservation of some of the produce that we may have produced in excess or for that specific purpose. Talking about, of course, these processing plants that you normally
right. So, and my final statement is, now we considering you used to have back in the days the steel mill. I mean, I used to be seeing this on television. And,
no, as soon as Rowling came in, that left the country.
Well, because I used to I thought it was ours. I'll be honest with you.
Yes,
so,
it was.
But,
it was. That's why they left, and it remained. But of course, as the steel mill itself remained as scrap iron.
Oh my God!
I mean,
because
it is.
But irony, you know what? The reason I say maybe we could have built bridges for some of these remote areas that we have no bridges and all these things. We could have been utilizing that.
Yeah.
But again, as users always say, the rapscallion, the Kobo Sabian, you name it, they I just go in words after. They destroy everything, man. They destroy everything.
The predatory nature, Kobo-like. Every single thing. And they tell us that they are not Kobos and they didn't pick at anything, but yet still it has disappeared.
Well, I guess we know it is them do. Them stand up on the electric wire down by the lawas and the Kobo shit on them. So them blight for life.
As you're talking Kobo and you're talking, of course, defecation. Instead of shit, I say defecation. But that's right. That's right. Shit you could use here as well. But the thing is, some fellas invited me to look at a particular project that Rowley and they initiated just before the Alcoa in Caranage.
Caranage, yes.
But they call it a mini boardwalk. Right? Just similar to the boardwalk that the UNC produced.
Right.
Them never maintained. But listen, when I went there, I stepped onto the boardwalk itself, but there are railings on either side to prevent people from falling, of course, as a security measure.
Right.
You know what they shout out and tell me? Hey, do not put your hand on those railings. I say, why? They say, that's a lineman spot for only Kobo. Only Kobo. And it's only defecated material. When I look, I really see some white stuff and some mixed with dark gray and black.
Boy.
That's Kobo shit.
Well, you thinking, and you well thinking it's a paint job.
Yeah,
you must be thinking it's a painted.
And I think that nobody in the right mind will put such a facility there, knowing that Kobo is a Kobo library spot. Why don't you do that?
But they probably would have seen them there too, but they probably went and see what they could do.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought I should interject that now that you raised that issue about Kobo.
Yeah. So I mean, a little humor for the audience and everybody else.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes.
All right. Bye. Have a nice day.
Same to you. Of course, people, we have finally come to the end. Let me quickly say what I want to say now. And that is that here it is in the constituency of Stuart Young and that of Arima, where of course penalty Beckles, and you will have an appreciation now as to what, because I can actually question, what do you think that the average person in Stuart Young's constituency will say about his ascendancy to the position of Prime Minister? Depending on who you talk to, of course, we come into that, but I'm saying that generally they would say, well, it's a good thing because it's our parliamentary representative. That is a natural human situation. But in the case of Arima, what do you think they would say? They are saying, of course, the newspaper is there in today's Newsday. You will see where they say that they are disappointed that Penelope Beckles did not get it. Did not get the nod, but of course, Stuart Young, who they consider to be a neophyte and who did not pay his dues in the party to get that very, what I consider to be numero uno prestigious position. So, but beneath all of that, if the newspaper said that he's loved in his constituency by virtue of the people that they would have interviewed. So they're saying he's loved. But I want to tell you this. that I am certain, I wasn't there, but I am certain, knowing the community that is Belmont and environs and so on, where of course the newspaper would have gone for persons. If 10 persons responded, because of about 2 or 3 persons they highlighted, I can tell you that if 10 persons responded, it means that they would have of course interviewed maybe about 20 or 25 persons or 30 persons, but only 2 or 3 of them decided to respond. They will tell you generally in these communities, I ain't talking. I have no view. I have no view. And that is a serious indicator of the true position of those, even though that sample might be small. Because you see, I saw it happen in recent times where they launched, of course, such a survey to find out certain things about members of the community as far as their political preference is concerned. And I stood there and I saw it. I spoke even though I was a member of that community in Belmont, but I had a friend that I visited, and therefore I made it clear that I'm not there, but of course my own observation about how the people respond, etc. And they were able, of course, to glean that as part and parcel of their research or their questionnaire that they would have been instructed to use in order to go back and make the analysis that they would have. But the point I am making here is that if 5, and I'm talking about the both constituencies, if 10 persons and 3 responded, those persons, of course, would speak in such a way because they might have had some benefit from the PNM, and therefore they would have spoken that way. But I can tell you, the vast majority would not have responded at all. The vast majority. That's a serious sign. But of course, we will look at more of that tomorrow night, and of course, I will bring some practical things as well that has been done. As we look at what worked for communities such as Laventille and so on, and what could still work, and what is the responsibility of the UNC when they get into office to, of course, look at homegrown solutions that are much more sustainable as opposed to the what I consider to be the knee-jerk and the ephemeral or temporary interjections and interventions that only have, of course, a limited shelf life as opposed to a sustainable one. And if any government would have taken note of that is by the community, of the community, the ultimate development of a society by extension, by, of course, addressing the specific concerns and issues of every single community brought about and highlighted by those who are daily experiencing the living conditions there, we would have had a better place. We would have had a better place. And we must have a better place moving forward, because we can do better, we must do better, even with the resources that we have now, dwindling as they are, abused as they have been. But of course, you cannot countenance or afford a group of individuals who clearly have lost their way. The PNM is a lame duck administration. No doubt about it. And therefore, they must be jettisoned out of office. Rowley is trying to delay as much as he can. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And let's, of course, see if we could have a little more of the sinking ship called Trinidad and Tobago, courtesy, of course, Rowley and they. And, of course, we must end by saying we must vote them out. That goes without saying.
Mayday, mayday, mayday!
The Trinidad, a luxury liner, sailing the Caribbean Sea with an old
quarter that day, someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa.
Everyone's coming out to bring about a change. I see young and old, we crying out for this. Yeah, want a government to drill policy, a government to do joke, a government to do fight we down, a government to do good, a government with integrity. Now look how they understand. A government in city and tea, no without the ball head man everybody. BNM must go. Tell them go. BNM must go. Hey, now everybody let's vote. Put them out. Vote. They're only time to resign. Vote. Put them out. When you see him waving bye-bye, everything's selling out. And not working out again. It's only draw. Like they will wipe out we name. Yeah, we want a government to drill policy, a government to do joke, a government to do fight we down, a government to do good, a government with integrity. Now look how they understand. A government in city and tea, now without the ball head man everybody. Rowley at to go. Tell them go. Rowley at to go. Now everybody let's vote. Put them out. Vote. They're only time to resign. Vote. Put them out. When you see him waving bye-bye.
Use it well before it's too late. If it is that who you're voting, fail beyond a doubt. When you're voting, vote them out. If it is they prove it to be only full amount. When you're voting, vote them out. If it is the time is now that change should come about. Just as how you vote them in. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. Stain your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy, vote them out. Vote them out with total scorn and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again.
well before it's too late. If it is that who you